Mackenzie, and today we will be doing an interval workout. So as you can see, I did break my arm a few weeks ago. So you know what that means. We will be doing lower body and core today. So we're gonna have a Tabata format for our whole workout. The only equipment you will need if you want it is a mat just for comfort, but other than that, it's just gonna be body weight movements. So Tabata format, we're gonna be doing 20 seconds of work, followed by 10 seconds of rest, 8 times. And for each Tabata, we have 2 movements. So that means it's going to be split up into 4 and 4. So we'll do each movement 4 times. We're gonna start out with a little warm-up Tabata that's gonna include air squats and plank. Then we'll have a minute rest and I'll go over our next Tabata. We'll do it, minute rest, next Tabata. So we have 1 warm-up Tabata and 3 body Tabatas. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So for our first warm-up Tabata, we're going to be doing air squats and plank. So you want your feet about shoulder distance apart, so they're gonna be about underneath your shoulders, toes pointed slightly out. We're gonna engage the core so we can keep our torso nice and long in a straight line. We're gonna send the hips back, knees out, trying to get the hip crease at or below parallel. So that means that we're trying to get our hip crease down to the knees and coming back up. So we want to keep our gaze ahead of us, send the hips back, knees out. If you want to go ahead and do a few warm-up air squats with me, just so we can kind of get the movement going and just work on fine-tuning the movement a little bit. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the weight in our heels. We don't want to be coming up onto the toes. We want to keep it back. And part of that comes from sending the hips back rather than just down. We want them to go back. But let's do about 3 more. And then for our plank, we're going to be doing it from the forearms, or I'm going to be doing it from the forearms. If you want to do it from the hands, you're more than welcome to. But for this, again, we want to keep our body in a nice straight line from head to toe and really focus on pulling the shoulders away from the ears. We don't want to get hunched up. We want to stay nice and long through the core. But again, those are our 2 warm-up movements, so we'll alternate. We'll do 20 seconds of air squats, 10-second rest, then 20 seconds of plank. We'll do that 4 times, then we'll take a minute break, and I'll go through our next movement. So let's go ahead and get started with those air squats in 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds here, going at your own pace. That may be faster than me, maybe slower than me, but this is our warm-up. So it's whatever you need, whatever your body is capable for this warm-up. 5 seconds left. And rest. Okay, now we're going to transition to the plank. Activate that core a little bit for our core exercises. And hold. Remember, it's really important to breathe while you're doing core exercises because you want to clench up, you want to use that core, but we still have to breathe during our movements. And 3, 2, 1. Nice work. We're going to go back to those air squats, so we have 3 rounds left. And 3, 2, 1. Really focus on here, lowering down with the quads and squeezing the glutes to come up. Five seconds left. Nice work. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Transitioning again to the planks. And 3, 2, 1. Really focus on your breath here. 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Okay, halfway through with the warm-up. Maybe see if you can go a little bit faster for these squats, maybe a little bit deeper. And go. while still maintaining the form. The form is the most important. We want to move safely and slowly rather than fast and unsafe. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, we only have to do squats one more time. And moving down to the plank, starting in 3, 2, 1. Another thing with the plank, think about you're trying to flex those quads, and that'll help straighten out the legs a little bit and help you get that nice flat line from the toes to the head. And rest. Okay, last round. Hopefully you're feeling a lot warmer now. We have one more round to go, then we'll get into the body of our workout. And squats. So it's just going to be a nice quick workout today, perfect for in between classes. If you have an hour break or so, this will be a perfect warm-up. Perfect workout. And 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, last plank. And 3, 2, 1. Ten seconds left. And rest. Okay, grab some water if you need it. I'm going to go through our next movements and we'll be starting again in 1 minute. So our first movement is going to be alternating lunge pulses. So for the first round, you can pick whatever leg you want to be in front, but we're going to have one leg in front for the entire 20 seconds. We're going to lower down, and we're just going to pulse towards the bottom. So the key here is we want to make sure that our front knee is directly over the ankle. We don't want to come forward or backwards. We want it to stay nice and perpendicular to the floor and the ankle. We want to keep the chest nice and high and really focus on using this front glute to lower up and down for these pulses. But we're going to do one side for 20 seconds, and then the next round we'll do the other side. And then our second movement is going to be leg raises. So, lower back on the ground, legs straight is one option. Just trying to keep that lower back on the ground, lowering the legs, lifting them up. You can also bend the knees and just tap the heels. But the key, we want to try to keep our core engaged. We're controlling that up and down movement. So, let's get started with those lunge pulses in 3, 2, 1. So, whatever leg you want to be in front, just pulsing here. So slight movements up and down. Modification is just maybe coming a little bit further out. If you want to make it more difficult, lower down a little bit more, a little bit easier, come up. And rest. Transition onto the back for those leg raises. And 3, 2, 1. So for me, I like to put my hands underneath my hips. You can also just have the hands out to the side. It's whatever is most comfortable for you. Five seconds left. Nice work. And rest. Okay, make sure that we're switching the legs this time. So we want to do the opposite leg in front and go. But the same rules still apply. We want to keep the chest high, the knee over that ankle, using that glute in the front leg to really lower up and down. And 3, 2, 1. Transition back down. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. So the goal here is, because we're working for such short increments, that you are working for the entire increment and then resting during the 10 seconds. So we want to, if possible, try not to rest during the 20 seconds of work. Okay, and rest. Halfway through with this Tabata, going back to that original leg that was in front. In 3, 2, 1. Just like with our core exercises, it's important to breathe through all of the exercises we're doing. Even though we want to be nice and tense, we want to try to breathe through that tension. And rest. Back down. And 3, 2, 1. If you find that your lower back is starting to arch off the ground in these last few rounds, feel free to bend the knees. We want to preserve the working of the core, and we don't want to do any injury to the back. And rest. Okay, nice work. This is our last round for this Tabata, and then you don't have to do these movements again. So, second leg in front, and go. And it's up to you where you put your hands. I just like to do the hips, because then I think it makes me keep a taller chest. You can just have them to the side. You can cross them. You can even go overhead with them if you want. And rest. Last 20 seconds of leg raises. In 3, 2, 1. Five seconds. Rest. Okay, so another minute break while I go through our next movements. If you feel like you don't need the full minute, go ahead, start doing some jumping jacks, start doing some squats. Just keep moving if you feel like you don't need to rest for the whole minute. But, so for our first movement for the second Tabata, we're actually going to stay on the ground. We're going to do a single leg bridge hold. So normally when we do the bridge, our feet are going to be about hip distance apart, and they're going to be just out of reach of our arms. We're going to then engage the hips, engage those hamstrings, those glutes to lift up. But this time, rather than having two legs, we're just going to do one. So you can point the leg straight out in the air, you can bend it, or if this is a little challenging, you can still do two legs on the ground, but we're just going to hold here for the 20 seconds. And then, so we'll do one side for 20 seconds, and then the next round we'll switch and do the other side. The key here is we want to keep the hips as high as possible. And then the next movement, still staying on the ground, we're going to do dead bugs. So for these, we have our legs straight in the air, arms straight in the air. We're going to activate the core, so pull the shoulder blades off the ground. Then drop the opposite arm, opposite leg, bring them back up. If this is a little much, you can always bend the knees and you can just do heel taps. And you can also bend the arms as well. But the key is we want to try to keep those shoulder blades off the ground, engaging the core the whole time. So those are our two movements. We have the single leg bridge hold and the dead bugs. Let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1 with the bridge hold. So again, you can have your arms out to the side here. You can rest them on your body, wherever's most comfortable for you. We just want to make sure that we're pushing through our heel, really engaging the glute and the hamstring. We don't want to feel it in our back. And rest. Now dead bugs. So this spot is kind of nice because you just stay on the ground the whole time. And dead bugs. So for these dead bugs, it's more important the quality, that we're moving nice, slow and controlled, rather than the quantity. See if you can maybe get the shoulder blades a little bit higher. 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, now make sure that you're switching to the other leg for that bridge hold. and up. Again, trying to get those hips as high as we can, and we also want to try to keep the hips level. So we don't want one hip dropping or raising above. We want to try to stay nice and level. So that requires some stability through the hamstrings and the glutes. Again, you always have the option, rest. With those, you always have the option to do both legs rather than just one or the other. Okay, and back to dead bugs in 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Nice work. We're halfway through with this one. Then we just have one more to finish us out. Back to the first side for those bridge holds and go. Halfway. Make sure that we're breathing again. Breathing under tension here is super important. And rest. All right, we just have one more left now on the other side. But first we have dead bugs. In 3, 2, 1. Nice work. It gets harder in the last few rounds to stay with it and keep that good form. But that's what makes the difference is these last few rounds when you're tired. 5 seconds. And rest. Okay, last round, so we have one more bridge hold and one more dead bug. And go. See if you can get those hips a little bit higher. 5 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Come down. Okay, now just our last dead bug for the day. In 3, 2, 1. See if you can get off the ground a little bit more with those shoulders. 5 seconds left. And rest. Okay, 1 minute break. This is our last rest, and then we're done for the day. So for our last set, we have sumo squats. So for our normal squats, our feet are under our shoulders, but here we're gonna take it about a shoe's distance wider. And here it's really important that we're sending those knees out and the hips back. So still keeping the chest tall, hips back, knees out, trying to get to that parallel position and really squeezing the glutes to come back up. You should feel this tomorrow in those glutes. And then our next movement is going to be the Superman pulses. So we're going to come down, raise arms out in front, and we're just going to raise up and down. But we're never coming down to a full rest. We're always staying active, just going higher and lower. Modifications for those would be bringing the arms in or just holding rather than doing the pulsing. But let's start with those sumo squats in 3, 2, 1. Really trying to get as low as you can here. If you can't, that's one modification. We can always just come a little bit higher. But the goal here is to try to come down as low as we can. In 3, 2, 1, rest. Superman pulses. In 3 seconds, 2, 1, up, and we're pulsing. Again, modification, you can always just hold. You can bring the arms in and pulse, or you can just bring the arms in and hold. But we're halfway. And rest, coming back up. Getting in that sumo position. and down. Halfway. Nice work. This is our last Tabata for the day. Really push it here. And rest. Coming down for those Superman pulses. And 3, 2, 1. Five seconds left. Rest. Coming back up, we're halfway through. And squat. Halfway. I don't know about you, my glutes are shaking at this point. And rest. Three, 2, 1. Pulses. Over halfway. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last round here. And squats. See if you can get even lower for this last round. Still keeping that chest nice and tall. Last 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, last pulses. Starting in 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, nice work today. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mackenzie, and we just did a lower body and core interval workout. Get a good stretch in after this, and I hope to see you again next week.